Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial video here at tylerduprey.com. Today's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do a walkthrough of my website for you guys so that I can talk about the technology that I used to build it and host it, the design that I used and the design choices that I made, and as well as talk about the content of the website and some of the reasons behind that. So this was actually a suggested video from Dia on Twitter, so thank you, Dia, for suggesting the video. Everybody should follow Dia. She actually built a really cool CSS clock, or it's a CSS and JavaScript clock, and I thought it was really cool. I especially liked the way that the second hand ticked on the clock, and she used an animation that actually made it look like a real second hand on a clock, and how a real second hand on a clock ticks. And so I thought that was really neat. So thanks again, Dia, for suggesting this tutorial video. If any of you guys have suggestions for tutorial videos that you would like to see, reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is @TylerDupree. And you can also go to my website and my contacts page and request tutorial videos there, or give me feedback on tutorial videos, or just say hi. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump into my website here. So here we are at tylerduprey.com. This is a static site I built with HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. I didn't even use Sass, I didn't use jQuery, and I did not use Bootstrap. And so this is, I coded every line, and I pushed it to GitHub, and I'm hosting it on GitHub Pages. And so that's actually how you're seeing it. I have the domain name through either Namecheap or GoDaddy. I can't remember which. And I actually do have an SSL certificate, so this shouldn't say not secure, and I don't know why I don't know why it's not automatically forwarding to the secure version, and so I have to figure that out. But this is my website. I wanted to create an overall design and an overall look and feel that was fun and informal, and that's why you see rounded edges on things. That's why I found a rounded, kind of fun, bubbly font that you see in the headings and the logo. And I have it bright colors as well to go along with that theme, and a very white background. And I recommend for any new designer to start by designing on top of a white background or canvas, and to use one accent color like this button here. And that's just a way to keep a website clean and aesthetically pleasing at the same time. I did add a gradient for my logo here, and once I added that gradient, I thought it was weird that at that time my logo was a gradient, but everything else was just using plain background colors like this one here. And so I thought, maybe I should try to make this gradient that's a theme that carries through the whole site. And so that's why I added the gradient to my slider here. I added the gradient to these headers here. And then I added them to these buttons, but that ended up being too much, especially with the gradient header here and then the gradient button here. And so I just changed this button to my main accent color, which I really like. And then down here you can see, I call these screened images. It's an image with a div in front of it that has a transparent background. And so this is a good way to regulate the colors that are on your site. What you can do is you can, if you want to make sure you have cohesive colors on your site, no matter what image you use, what you do is you make the image in the background black and white, which I did not do. I probably should. But then you put a nice transparent screen over it, and then you can kind of control the colors that you have on your site. Otherwise, every card here would have different colors in the images, and it might look a little messy. It also might look nice, so it just kind of depends. But and then I'm like alternating colors here. These are list items, and I used inth of type to alternate between the colors here. And so I think it could look a little sloppy, but it also makes it look fun too at the same time. So I could take it or leave it, but that's kind of the thought process behind that. And then a gradient border, which I actually created a tutorial on how to do this. But the site, I think, is very simple, and that was the idea. I actually didn't want to complicate it any more than I had to, and so I started without even having this slider here, and thought it was a little too boring, and so I added the slider to feature some articles prominently. And actually, for those of you web designers out there, sliders are not recommended, and it's because they're usually, most sliders, especially the plugins you get, I think they have really long load times. This is actually a very lightweight slider. As soon as I can figure out how to make it accessible, I will do a tutorial video on this. Right now it's a nightmare for anyone who doesn't use a mouse, and so I'm going to fix that, but I'll do a tutorial on it. But it's very lightweight. If you just use these labels down here to click through the slides, this motion, oops, I accidentally clicked on the slide. This motion that you see is all CSS, including the slides, you know, sliding through. And so this can all be done with CSS. The only part that's JavaScript is the part where you can, on mobile devices, you can swipe right and left. Also, if you notice, I'm on the second slide here. If I click on the first one, it slides from the left to right to indicate that it was over there, but that's JavaScript trickery that I used for that. And then I also created these arrows for an additional way to click through the slides, and that's JavaScript. But if you just use these labels, this is all CSS. So that's really cool. Let's see. But yeah, like I said, the users don't use sliders so much. I don't anticipate a lot of people clicking through the slider. It's just the point of this site is to be a portfolio piece for me, to show that I know how to build a site, but also it is just a way for me to test out different things like an HTML slider. And so that's kind of the point behind it. But, you know, if somebody clicks through it and finds one of these 3 videos, that's just a bonus. So down here I have a list of all my tutorials laid out, and then a link to go to all the tutorials so that the page isn't too long. It doesn't take too long to load. And so I only need to load 6 tutorials, and then you can view all tutorials. But you know, if you make this too long, not only are most users not going to go through the whole list on the homepage, but the homepage is going to take too long to load. So you have to be mindful of that. And then I have recommended tutorials down here, which are actually duplicates of the tutorials up here, but that's because I don't have enough tutorials on the site yet. So at the time of recording this video, I actually launched this site with only 1 tutorial on it. There was just 1, and these others were just blank cards that said coming soon. And the reason I did that is because I'm a big believer in just launching things and then making them progressively better as you go. And sure, do you take some hits for launching a site with only 1 tutorial on it? Is it possible that somebody saw it and never came back because they thought it was a useless site that only had 1 tutorial on it? Yeah, it's possible. Not that many people were coming to my website when that happened, though, so it's not that big of a deal. And I still don't have that many people that come to the website. So even though it has gone up quite a bit. But I really think that you should focus, if you're a web developer and you're not working for a client who wants everything to be perfect before it launches, if you get to decide when it launches, I think it's probably a good idea to launch early when you have what's called a minimum viable product. You literally have the earliest version that you can launch. And it helps take your website out of the world of theory, and it's no longer an idea in your head, and now it's a thing that's in the real world, and you now feel like you need to start making it better, and you kind of feel that pressure because you look and you see, oh, people are going to the website. I need to continue improving it, and so that's been really good for me. Since I mentioned it a couple of times, I should mention that I used Cloudflare to. Cloudflare is what's called a CDN, or a content delivery network. Basically, they cache my site and store it on servers all over the world so that people from all over the world can load my site almost instantly. It's very fast. And Cloudflare has been really good. My only complaint is that they use cookies to do this. And I don't think that they're doing anything nefarious or bad. I don't have any reason to believe that they're, spying on users or anything like that. But I just don't like. I think that the world of cookies and metadata has been a really dark chapter in the history of the web. And I think I'm going to remove Cloudflare for the sake of removing cookies from my site. And it's nothing against Cloudflare. Their service is actually awesome. This site, if you're watching this video while I still have Cloudflare, and maybe I won't get rid of it, I don't know. I have to think about that. But this site really is fast, thanks to them. And I built it to be fast, to be fair, but they made it even faster. And so that's something you can look into. But yeah, I might be removing that. It's hosted on GitHub Pages, if I haven't said that already. GitHub Pages is free and works really, really well. I really like it. And there are probably a million tutorials out there and articles about GitHub Pages. So you just have to Google it and you can get a website published very, very quickly on GitHub and GitHub Pages. So there you go. Let's talk about the content of the site, specifically these tutorials. Let's go to one of the tutorials here. So first of all, on all my pages, including the home page, there is this breadcrumbs area up here. This helps the user know where they are in the site, especially in relation to other pages. So they know they're on the responsive navigation tutorial inside of the tutorials page, which is inside of the home page. And so I like the breadcrumbs because it is nice and user friendly and lets the user know exactly where they are in the page. And as long as I have these breadcrumbs and as long as they're accurate, the user isn't going to get lost in my page, in my website, I mean. Okay, so I have a nice big H1 here. Yeah, that's good for search engine optimization to have a nice big H1 on your page and to make it something unique that people might be searching for. If someone's Googling how to build a mobile site navigation or a responsive navigation would be another way, and I use the word responsive here. And so, this is a way that Google might be able to show my page in that search result and people can find it. So the video itself is a YouTube video. I tried to use Cloudflare's CDN technology to host my videos on Cloudflare and so that you could stream it. And that way I could use a custom video element using HTML5 video. The problem is that it costs money. And it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough that I didn't want to go that direction. And YouTube will host my videos for free. And also, this is a fluid width container that holds this YouTube video. And that's another reason why I went ahead and went with YouTube video, because I thought, since YouTube gives me an iframe, I thought that I had to have a fixed width and height on my iframe. And luckily, I figured out how to put it inside of a container that is fluid width and maintains an aspect ratio. And so then I just set the fixed width of the video to a width, or the iframe, to width equals 0 and height, or sorry, width equals 100% and height equals 100%. And so it takes up 100% of this fluid width box around it. And as you change the size of the screen, the video will change accordingly while maintaining the correct aspect ratio. And so I actually didn't think that was possible until I found an article on it. And so I'm going to do a tutorial on how to create that, and I'll link to that article as well. And anyway, that was a lot of fun. And the important links section, this is good because if you have good links on your website, one, your users are happy because they're going to find relevant resources, and two, you're going to get extra points in the eyes of search engines like Google, because if you're linking to good resources, that might mean that the content on this page is good, and that at least if it's not good, at least you're sending the user to some good things. And so Google really likes CSS tricks and really likes MDN. You know that because they come up all the time when you search anything in the world of web development and design. And so Plus, these are great links, and so yeah, I include them on my site. And again, it's good for the user and good for search engine optimization. And it helps me clarify things that I can't go over in detail in my video. The problem with my videos is that I want to keep them as short as possible, but I also want them to be complete projects. Like this, when you finish this tutorial, I want you to have a mobile navigation. When you finish the logo tutorial, I want you to have a gradient logo. And so I don't have time or the energy, frankly, to get into the nitty gritty detail of every HTML element and the theories behind it and all of that. And so if I think that stuff is necessary, I can link to it down in my below my video. The video description section is not nearly enough. It's too short, and what I actually want to do is I want to basically I'll probably change it from video to, I'll have to come up with a different name, but it's going to basically be the text version of the tutorial. Like I'm literally going to type out text explanations with code snippets of how to do what we're doing in this tutorial. And that way, if someone doesn't learn well from videos, or for some reason can't or doesn't want to use the video, they can use the text version. And that's also going to be better for SEO because I'm going to have better content in the page, and Google should like that, and so that'll be good. The recommended tutorials section is at the bottom of every page. With this treehouse stuff that you see here, you see it at the bottom of videos and you see it here. I should go into that. I did learn everything I know pretty much about web design from Treehouse. They have tutorials that you pay for. You pay by the monthly subscription and you get access to most of their tutorials, or based on what tier you pay for, all of their tutorials. And so it's a really good service and I highly recommend it. I do not get paid for this link, although I did try to. Basically, Treehouse advertises an affiliate program, and what an affiliate program is you put a link to a product or service on your website, and then every user who uses your website and clicks that link, and then goes and buys that product or service, the people who have that product or service will pay you for doing that. And so Treehouse has an affiliate program that they advertise on their website, but I applied for it and haven't heard back from them. So I don't know what that means, and I am kind of suspicious that they aren't doing this anymore. Or at least they're behind on approvals or whatever, because it's not just, I kind of expected to get denied because I don't have very much content on my site and I don't have a whole lot of site traffic. But I haven't even gotten denied, they just haven't responded. So I kind of think that that means it's not happening, or they're just maybe just slow to respond. That's the story behind that. I don't mind that I'm not getting paid for anyone who clicks this link, because I really did learn everything I know about Treehouse or everything I know about web design from Treehouse, and so I don't mind sending them traffic. But this recommended course, like this Flexbox course, like not only is it relevant to what we do in this tutorial, but it's a really great course. I really enjoyed this course, and I tried to learn Flexbox without it and really struggled until I took that course. And so, again, I don't mind linking to that kind of stuff. And so that's what this Treehouse stuff is all about. The template section, let's just go to that. I wanted to add e-commerce to my site, and so I thought about selling like hats or t-shirts, but it's like, who's going to want a hat or a t-shirt with my website on it? So I decided that maybe I would create really cheap, really simple, not complex starter templates, so that especially new developers can have a website that they can download from me, and then they can edit that. And so they're not starting from scratch, they can actually start with a website. And so that's my idea. I am in the process of turning this website into a blog theme, and so I will post that as soon as I have it. And I just made it like $5 because that's cheap. And again, I want this to be an e-commerce component because I want to get better at e-commerce and putting e-commerce in, especially putting e-commerce into a static site when you're not using like WordPress, which makes it really easy, or Shopify, which is literally the easiest thing in the world. And so this is this should be a fun project to turn this into e-commerce. I don't obviously I would love to get $5 from people, but I don't it's more about learning e-commerce, and so that's what that's about. This underneath the link to my templates, I have a form where you can sign up for my email list. I want to put out regular updates via email, and the way I want to do that is by creating a list of people who are interested in receiving updates every time I release a new tutorial. But also I want to send out emails about new tools that I found, especially free tools and things that I found helpful as a web developer. And so something that I think would I want to create a lot of value with this, and I'm not going to spam because I don't have time and interest in spamming anyone. And I just want to make a valuable resource that I think web developers, especially new web developers, will get a lot out of. And then I just have a link to my about page, because if someone's scrolling to the bottom of the page and maybe they're looking for something like who's this Tyler Duprey guy, and so I don't know. There's a link to my about page there on every page. This newsletter form, as well as this contact form, for that I use a service called Formspree. And actually, let me just go find Formspree and pull up their page here, and let me get is wanting to log into my dashboard. Let me just get their homepage here. Here it is. So this is Formspree. This is really easy and fun. You create a form, an HTML form, and then you add this URL with your email on the end of it and set it to post. And what happens is people go to your website and they fill out that form, and the information they put in this form will go to your email in a nice, organized, easy to read way. And so there's no server on your end. Formspree uses servers, but my site is static, and yet I can receive form inputs. And so if I received a lot of inputs, it would probably become difficult. But there's also some services, and I won't get too into this because we're kind of going on a rant here, but there's services that will organize your emails for you too, especially if they're very formulaic. And so that's not even that big of a deal. So this is a really cool service to receive contact form submissions without having to have a server on your website. And so that's really cool. Thanks to the Formspree people. And I'm using their free service because I don't need the paid one. But as soon as I get enough, contact submissions and feel like I need the paid version, then I will definitely upgrade to it. So. All right, so yeah, I talked a little bit about the content, but these tutorials are just, the purpose is for me to learn better, and when you can teach something, that means you know it better, but it's also to give back, and then to people who are learning. And I also want to I want to be able to teach things that I'm doing. And so most of these things are things that I've actually done in this website. This is the actual logo I've used for this website. And this tutorial, you'll actually get a layout for a web page, and it's the one that I use for this website. And, interactive buttons, responsive navigation. And so it's really easy for me to do these tutorials because I'm using them in real life. And so there's really no reason not to. I do all my tutorials in one take, and by that I don't mean I get it perfect the first time and don't have to redo it. What I mean is I don't edit my videos for a lot of reasons. One, I don't have the time. I do have the skills. I know how to edit video, but I don't have the time or energy to edit videos. And the other reason is because I don't think that I should be teaching something to people if I can't do it in one video. If I make so many mistakes that I have to edit videos together, I just don't think that that's fair of me to try to teach a tutorial on something that I clearly don't know very well myself. And so this just keeps me honest. If I can't, if I can't sit down and, code something for 10, 20, 30, sometimes 40 minutes, and I can't do it without making a bunch of mistakes that need to be edited out, then that's obviously not something I should be teaching a tutorial on. So that's why I do everything in one take. And again, by that, sometimes I do screw up so much that I have to just redo the whole video. But again, that keeps me honest because, you know, I don't want to have to restart a whole video, especially when I've been talking for like 30 minutes. And so this makes sure that I really know what I'm doing before I start a tutorial on it. And so that's good. Man, I think I talked about everything. I talked about the layout, the design, the technology I used. I use GitHub Pages. Everything is static, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Yeah, I'm really happy with it though. And I am using a technique that they call progressive enhancement, and that has a little more to do with using like what I did with this slider. I started it as its pure CSS slider, and then I enhanced it with JavaScript. But I also started this whole site as a very simple site with only one tutorial on it, and now at the time of recording this I have 6 tutorials, but I'm very close to having a bunch more up, and I'm just going to keep enhancing it and making it better. I'm going to add the e-commerce to it. Oh, the search. I should go over the search page. This is a Google search. I'll do a tutorial video on creating a custom Google search, but this is a service that Google provides. And so you can create a search box in your page that is hosted by Google. This is a button hosted by Google, and I just added my my site's color into it so that it matches my color. But you know, if I search a layout a web page, this probably isn't going to work. But first of all, they do a bunch of ads, which of course is not fun. But then they it's basically a Google search window, and it's just my site. These are all tylerdupree.com links. So you can see that I'm having trouble with Google indexing the HTTPS version of my site, as well as the just plain tylerdupree.com version of my site. It's very likely that Google sees this as 2 different sites, which is bad for SEO. So I'm going to have to figure that out. And I knew that, and that's something that I'm working on. So, and as you can see, I'm on the form page, and it's saying not secure, because it's saying don't fill out a form if you don't know what you're doing. But I do have an SSL certificate. My site does have an HTTPS version, and I can't get Cloudflare to, and it's my fault, I haven't looked into it enough, but I'm having trouble getting Cloudflare to always show the HTTPS version, especially with like Google and things like that. But I'm working on it. Okay, so I think that's everything. Thanks again to Dia for suggesting this video. I think that, you know, it was fun for me to do, and hopefully you guys got something out of it for creating your sites. I'm a big fan of the idea of static sites, serverless sites, so I think I'm going to just be diving deeper and deeper into serverless web design. And yeah, again, if you guys have any suggestions for tutorials that you'd like to see, or feedback on tutorials that I've done, just again go to Twitter at Tyler Dupree, or go to my contacts page and let me know. But other than that, you know, I hope this was helpful, and happy coding, guys.